What's up guys, my name is Sebastián and welcome to another episode of Seba Reviews. And today I'm reviewing the latest movie from Disney Animation Studios, of course, Raya and the Last Dragon. This movie almost came out of nowhere for me because I have kind of heard of it for a little while, but it was a movie that I didn't think it was that advertised. I don't think it was that talked about. It was one of those movies that unfortunately they kind of just throw it off and hopefully they get something. Because I mean, they have talked about it last year, but of course COVID hit, so they were talking about what are they gonna do with this movie. Are they gonna try to release it on theaters or just straight to Disney Plus? But even that topic wasn't that much of a discussion. They were talking more about Mulan, which is weird because most of these movies have an Asian female lead in the movies, and both of them are premium movies. You're gonna pay like 30 goddamn bucks on Disney Plus if you want to watch it at home. It's ridiculous. But we're talking more about Mulan because that was like the first experiment and trial with that premium access thing. And Raya was like, oh yeah, Raya the Last Dragon. I don't think Disney had much faith in this movie. And even when they about to come out with this movie, the advertisement was kind of minimal. Wasn't a lot of buzz going on. It's just like, yeah, we'll go watch Raya the Last Dragon. Hey. So coming near this movie, I just thought this was gonna be one of those forgotten Disney animated movies like Atlantis, Lost Empire, or even Treasure Planet. I thought it was gonna be like one of those movies that like it came out, it's not terrible, but it's like, it's not the best work. Because I will say I didn't like Treasure Planet that much. I saw it recently, well, I mean, like a year or two ago. And, good costumes though. Atlantis though, it is a pretty good movie, but it's still not their best content. It's not the best material. So I thought this movie was gonna fall into that. It's like, oh, it's not bad, but it's not the best thing, and hopefully, even worse, it'll be forgotten. And so I was interested in seeing what they're gonna do with this movie because I wasn't eager or excited about it, but I was like, you know what, this looks kind of interesting, having a female lead, an Asian female lead, and they're not falling to the stereotypes and tropes they have with a female lead in a movie, so especially Disney. So I was kind of interested, but I wasn't even that remotely excited or even that jazzed about it. I was like, oh, okay, well, we'll see how it goes. I have to say, this movie is beautiful, gorgeous looking. I mean, the animations are fantastic. The locations, though, they look incredible. Like, even some of the locations, even from the beginning of the movie, it's just imaginative, very creative. Just like a lot of kind of details put into there, and I liked it. I liked even the lighting, the way things look. Beautiful. And as the movie starts, you also have these like this rich kind of lore, very imaginative, like with the dragons and the people, the relations, and how things go on, and just everything from the offset to where we progress later on in the movie. It's interesting. It was a cool, very well done, interesting concept and story. Although yes, people compare it to like it's very much like almost like Avatar: The Last Airbender. I have not seen the show personally, except for bits here and there. But I can tell, like, yeah, this looks pretty familiar. Even visually, it just looks a little bit like Avatar. But also, I'm a fucking sucker for post-apocalyptic anything. Like, movies, television, games, you name it. I love that kind of stuff. I just eat that shit up. I love it. So, of course, it's like the Disney version of a post-apocalyptic world. But even then, some moments and some things, like, they just look cool. Especially Raya's outfit later in the movie. Dude, looks badass. Love it. Like just everything, the way she maneuvers around the wasteland, it's just badass. Like I said, this is not a grim setting. It's not like, oh my god, this is dark, but it is kind of grim a little bit once you get to know more about the story. But yeah, it's the most Disney safe version of a post-apocalyptic world, but it still worked out, and I really liked it. But also, this movie kept up with the creative sides of it, because not only do they do a creative story and a creative world, but they also do some creative decisions with animation styles. Like, there's sometimes like they change the animation to a little bit like cell animation. It looks cool. I'm like, okay, they didn't actually do that, but I appreciate them taking this effort. That's awesome. So there's a lot of creativity behind this movie, and as we set up into what's going on in the world, what's going on with these characters, the movie touches about things I guess we already know as people. How, well, people just fuck things up for everybody. Because, oh my god, does this movie touch about that theme a lot, about, hey, how people can get a little greedy, people can be a little selfish, and because of their fears and stuff, it fucks things for everybody. Like, we had a good thing going on, and because people are just unfortunately imperfect, people just fuck things up for everybody. As we get into the plot, I will say the plot is actually very, very good. I mean, my only issues with it is like, for instance, this one thing that Raya have to do in the movie. This shouldn't have taken that long to do, in my opinion. It didn't look like it would be that difficult, that it would take that long to make. But I was like, okay, it's not a big deal, but I mean, wow, it took this long to just do something that didn't sound like it was gonna be that difficult. I don't know, for me it just sounded way too much. And speaking of that, there's also another plot detail in the movie later on that I don't think why they took this long. Like, why did it take this much time? I don't know. Some things with time related here. I'm like, why couldn't this be executed a while ago? Why did it be now? I don't get it. I mean, obviously, I guess for the movie's sake, we have to do it now just to progress the plot, but I don't know, some decisions here with some like moments and settings, like I'm like, why now? There's something in this movie that I did not expect to see in a family film. I'll say that at the end, kind of like spoilers after I do the score. But there was one thing I just did not expect to see in the movie. I'm like, oh shit, that happened. And although I kind of heard this before I started the movie, but something I when I saw it coming out, it didn't really need to be in this movie. And it's this use of anachronistic humor. And it's done especially a lot more by Zizu, who is played by Aquafina, who plays a dragon. Her humor, maybe it would have worked maybe for like a different movie, but just not in this one. I don't think we needed this anachronistic humor because we don't know exactly when this takes place, and I'm kind of glad they don't specify that. But to me, it looks like it was around the hundreds, you know, like a long time ago. But it's a different version of it because we don't see cars, we don't see airplanes, we don't see any kind of stuff. It was more like long time, like the hundreds, you know, like DC era, you know. So we don't know exactly when this takes place. There could be modern time, a different reality, maybe. Anachronistic humor just doesn't work here. I mean, there's maybe one time I'm like, okay, maybe a little bit, few times that wasn't that bad. I'm like, okay, it's semi-enjoyable, but I just didn't like it. It just didn't really need to be here. I'm like, this doesn't really work that well. Like, I guess it's a way for us, you know, the kids to connect with something here in the story, for even like the older parents, I guess. But like, we don't need this here. The story's well enough. We don't need. I guess it's also a way to entertain, because this could have been a really straight, serious movie. So I guess this anachronistic humor is a way to kind of just chill things off a little bit. Like, okay, this is a good, fluffy, enjoyable movie, but get done a little touch of humor. Now we don't need this anachronistic humor. Also, speaking of the plot, I liked some interesting choices of how to progress the plot, of like cutting some things, showing some different shots. The way they lay out some of the shots is very cool. It's almost like 70s action, like kung fu shows or movies. Like the way they splice things up, I'm like, okay. They don't do it a whole lot. Just sometimes it sounds like it's random because they only do it briefly in some moments in the movie, not even the whole thing. But it was interesting. I'm like, okay. Don't know why it was chosen to be like this, but okay. But the pacing though, I think the pacing was really fast. Not super fast, like holy shit, like in your face. But I did feel like the movie just didn't take its time like it needed to, like to make things feel a little more natural. It just feels like we're going to the next thing, we're going to the next thing, we're doing the next thing. We're already here, like 10 minutes in, we're already like full on, like feels like I'm already in the middle of the movie. Like, oh, what the hell? It feels, you know how it feels like? It feels one of those Disney animated movies that, you know, like the lesser ones that people don't like that much, or even people forget about, that felt like it just rushed out and it just put it out there, and it only lasts like not even 90 minutes, barely at runtime. Like it just feels a little bit fast paced. Like even the movie is like it was like an hour and 40, about that, and it almost 2 hours. You can say it's not even that really short, but it really felt like just the pace of the movie was really quick and just going. Not to make this movie feel long, but I wanted this movie to feel a little bit more natural. Take its time to meet more of the characters and getting to know what's going on. Still, it was done very well. I'm just saying, like, it was really very quickly. But aside from Raya and the Last Dragon, there's actually a cast of characters around this movie that I don't want to specify more about about who these characters are, because, you know, I want people to go with a movie and find these characters on their own. I will say that those characters I will mention were actually pretty cool. There's one character, that's the thing, because it felt like this movie was going so quickly and we didn't have time to meet these characters like I guess we should. So it felt like, whoa, let's take our time. Let's take our time. I would have liked this character more if I had more time to meet this person, but it literally went like go, and oh, this character's here. I'm like, oh, okay. But I will say Raya is very likable. I like it. She's a strong female heroine that we kind of need more to see in media. But the thing is, she's not just that type. She could have just been, oh, I'm a strong female heroine and that's it. Like, no, she's more fleshed out. There's a good character. There's a good story. There's some tragic stuff into her. There's a lot of guilt you can feel in that character. So it's some interesting stuff. I do think she's more than just, oh, I'm just a flat one note strong and stoic character. No, she's just a lot of stuff in motion going on. I know people complaining. I know people are complaining. I know people notice that there's no music, at least in the form of singing in this movie, which some might not like that if you're hardcore Disney fans and love that kind of stuff. Actually, I liked it. I'm not very much into musical stuff. Although, yes, there's some musical classics in these movies for sure, but I didn't really need it in this movie. I'm pretty sure if they'd done it, it would have been good, but I didn't really need it. It worked out, and it's good. So I think that's one reason why people will not give this movie a chance, because people might get bored because, oh, there's no music, there's no extravagant musical performances. Like, no, I think people are not going to give it a chance because of that. I think that's a shame. And Kelly Marie Tran, I mean, I'm glad that she's actually getting to do some stuff after all the bullshit that happened in Last Jedi. Like, I feel so sorry for her. People just bully her. That's some fucked up shit. That's pathetic stuff. So I'm glad that she's actually getting more out there, back in the public eye, and doing a lot of different movies. And I liked her here. I think she's really good. And hell yeah, she's a fucking Disney princess, and she's awesome. She's not the best character for sure, but again, she's very likable. I liked her story. She's not like anyone I need to be rescued any moment. I'm like, she is very independent, but not forcefully. Just it works out very well, and I like these different intricacies of that character. And Zizou, I actually at the beginning, again, she was all about that anachronistic humor. Like, oh no, she's supposed to be that character, huh? And Aquafina, hearing her doing these lines, it was just not gonna work out for me. I was like, oh my god, hopefully she doesn't end up being annoying for the whole movie. And luckily she's not. I actually liked her a lot, and I actually love that they did a lot more stuff in the character than just being like, oh, I'm the comedic relief. Like, no, there's actually some deep stuff with this character, some stories with her. There's a lot of emotion, and even I can feel the emotion from Aquafina's performance. So she wasn't just cracking jokes the whole time. She's actually a pretty three-dimensional character, and I really liked her in the movie. By the end of it, I'm like, you know what? I liked her. It's not didn't love the character, but I really enjoyed her. I really enjoyed Aquafina. Even the character design almost looks exactly like Aquafina, so I don't know if it's like intentional. Maybe they did, kind of like what they did with Genie and Robin Williams, so I can see that going on though. I like sometimes when they do that and it works. I guess the antagonist of this movie is Namari, which I do like her story with her and Raya, all about that. And Namari was good. I mean, she's not really the strongest character in the movie. She's not even a very strong antagonist. But I do like that she's not a one-note character either. She's not like, I'm evil, that's it. Like, you know where she's coming from, you know what she's doing, and there's a lot more complex stuff with her as well. But she's good. She's not great. You know, it's like, oh, she's a memorable Disney villain, but not that she needed to be, really. I dug her. I thought she was cool. And she's played by Gemma Chan, and I think Gemma Chan did a good job. She did a good job of making me believe, like, yes, this voice is actually coming from that character. I liked her. I think she's cool. And again, the relationship between her and Raya, it's very interesting. And yeah, like the rest of the characters, again, I won't mention much, but I really like them. There's a lot of cool stuff with them, some good stories, things that drive these characters forward, and I like it. I like them. And I also love the relationship between Raya and Zizou. You know, first it's like, oh, like you can see that Raya's a little bit disappointed with the reveal of Zizou, but later on, although she gets a little annoyed by her by the beginning, maybe you feel that bond, that connection, and the love they have for each other. And it's good stuff. I like seeing that positive image coming in, but it's not like it's forced. I'm like, oh, we need to pull this image. Like, no, it worked out well. I will say there's a con baby in this movie. The idea of it is stupid, is ridiculous, but it's funny. And yeah, by the end of the movie, I kind of teared up a little bit. I'm like, you know what? I do feel connected with these people by the end. It worked out. Hey, it worked out. Baby is a little bit manipulated, really. Not really, but it worked out. It worked out. It's just a nice, beautiful movie. And there's a lot of action in this movie, by the way. There's a lot of action. There's some chase scenes. There's the choreography. You know, people say like choreography in an animated movie. Yes, there's action choreography in animated movies, and in this one, it is great. I mean, not the best action I've ever seen, but it is very well, and one of the best action I've seen for a Disney animated movie. I think the other one that was really good was like Tangled, and that movie is not all about action. So this movie is very different. I think it's not gonna sell well for a lot of Disney hardcore people, but I really enjoy this movie. It's not the best work. It's not the top tier Disney stuff, but I really enjoy it, and it's very different. That's what I like. We're not putting these images like, well, the female lead needs to have a prince, like, oh, she needs to be rescued by a man, like nothing like that. Nothing about that is even brought up in this movie, and it's great. So it's different, but it's, again, material, although it's very imaginative and creative, it's not the best work from Disney, but it is a step in the right direction, and hopefully they continue on with this path. So yeah, beautiful movie. I will give this movie a 9 out of 10. I had a really good time. Is it worth the $30 of premium access though? Fuck no, I'll just say that right now. Because again, it's a good movie. It's not war. It doesn't have that value of paying $30 on top of what you're already paying for Disney Plus. Fuck that. Like, is it worth going to theaters for? I don't even think so. Really, it's a good movie just to watch at home, but I don't think this movie like it's worth like we need to go to theaters to see this. I mean, man, I don't know why they do this premium access thing. Again, it's also weird why they do this for the Asian female lead movies. That's strange, but I don't think it's worth the $30 of premium access. Even if you were the big group or the family or whatever, $30 is just a little bit too much. Not even just a little. It's too much. Also, I mentioned the music is great, but let's get quickly into spoiler stuff because I really feel like I need to talk about some things. The thing I said about family movies, I didn't expect to see this, is like a jump scare. It's not like it was scary at all, but this shit came out of nowhere, you know? So kids watching this movie will be like, what the fuck? And they probably don't even want to watch the rest of the movie. It doesn't go to other levels like other Disney movies that go to like, wow, is this supposed to be for kids? But yeah, this movie feels a little bit more mature than other Disney movies, but it still doesn't go that deep or that high into like mature level. But it just still doesn't feel like, oh, this is primarily for kids. You know, you can tell some movies are more for the children. You know, Frozen. This is more for like older audiences, I could tell. But I think also kids will really like this movie. And I think I meant with like things that shouldn't have taken that long. Like for example, like Raya spent 6 years trying to look for the dragon, because you know there's like 100 rivers. I know there's a lot, but even from the map it didn't look like it's a big area, you know. Like, even with the tuk-tuk, which I forgot to mention, tuk-tuk is actually cute. In the beginning it was cute, later on when he got big, which also I didn't know it was played by Alan Tudyk, so hey, it's awesome. He was still kind of cute, but yeah, I guess it's cuter when he's like small, little buggy guy, like, oh, it's cute. But I don't 6 years to do that, I don't think it should have taken 6 years. I don't think so. And something that I also want to mention is like, okay, so why does Raya decide to get the piece of the stone or whatever it was from, was it Fang, when she already was there for a while? So why just, when you knew it was there, why just take it? Why have to wait for the last minute to do it? That didn't make any sense. That didn't make any sense to me. Some character I mentioned is the kid in the movie. I thought he was funny. I think he was like cool and silly. Hey, I thought he was funny. And then by the middle of the movie, you see there's like a lot of emotion. It's not just this one note like, oh, hey, trying to do these facial expressions the whole time, trying to look cool and funny. There's actually a lot of deep stuff with that character, and I really liked him. The one character I mentioned in the movie, in the review when I was spoiling that, is like they kind of just put him in there, and I would have preferred to like we needed more time to meet this character. I think his character was his name Tong, who's played by Benedict Wong. Like he was cool. It's just like he was just a character that was showed up last minute. I'm like, oh yeah, so here's another character introduced like almost by the third act of the movie. Hey, and he was funny. I liked him, and you do see that relationship between the whole group. You feel that connection. He got there by the last minute, really. And I also did want to mention, because it would spoil the movie, I think so. It is the character played by Daniel Ki Kim, who plays Raya's father. I think he was, by the beginning, like, okay, I know this is the typical Disney formula. He's gonna die. Of course he did. But it was interesting. And again, even before that, we see the trope, Disney trope, like, oh, he's a single parent. Like, I like that they didn't even mention her mom at all. In any moment of the movie, they don't mention her mother once. And that was okay. It's like, of course, they question, like, okay, where's the mom in here? But we don't need it. I mean, again, I don't know why Disney does this trope of having a single parent or kill their parents. I don't know why they think this is a good story, good plot and detail. That this is like good to launch these characters on. I don't know why you do this. I don't know why you do that. I guess it's funny. I guess it's like the moment they don't do it, it'll feel weird and off. Like, oh, they didn't kill their parents, or there's one single parent in there. It's odd. But yeah, I thought he was great. I mean, Daniel Ki Kim did a great job of that voice. Just that voice is just awesome. I mean, the character himself was great. So yes, that's my review for Raya and the Last Dragon. What do you think of the movie? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Is it not the best material from Disney? Is it the best Disney movie you've seen? Let me know in the comments. Let's talk about it. What do you think about the characters, the story, everything? Let's talk about it in the comments. So if you like this review, please give it a like, share, subscribe for more reviews or different content, whatever you want to see in the channel. It's already here. You can just subscribe and you get more. So thank you for watching. My name is Sebastián Productions. Y yo soy aquí hablando shit.